According to the National UFO Reporting Center, since 2014, there's been quite a drop in the number of people that have reported seeing alien spacecraft. But prior to the 1940s, there's little evidence of people saying they saw unidentified flying objects. Then we got the space race and mind-blowing technologies, and people not only started saying they saw UFOs, but some believed they had been abducted by aliens. This was the dawn of a new era of alien conspiracies, with Roswell perhaps being the best known of them all. When video technology became easily accessible, we also saw many films of strange objects in the sky, and perhaps even the most skeptical amongst us could be swayed toward believing they were watching aliens. Let's now try to find out what could be hidden from us in this episode of the Infographic Show. Is the US military hiding aliens? We won't spend too much time on Roswell because we've done that already in our show, Evidence That Aliens Did Come to Roswell. But let us recap at least what went down in the small town in New Mexico. If you looked at the Roswell Daily Record on July 8, 1947, you'd have seen a headline that said the Roswell Army Airfield had captured an alien spacecraft. The US government denied that this happened and said that in fact pieces of what looked like to some a UFO was actually a weather balloon. Nonetheless, it was reported by some that the debris consisted of a 700-foot-long string of neoprene balloons, radar reflectors for tracking, and sonic equipment. Was this a cover-up? Well, the USA at the time had been developing advanced military machinery, and there is no doubt at all that many of these developments were top secret. The USA didn't want the Soviet Union knowing what it was working on, so things had to be hush-hush. The weather balloon story just didn't cut it for many, including much of the media. But that didn't mean the USA was hiding aliens. Rather, secret things were happening, and so at times cover-ups took place. You also had respected physicist and ufologist Stanton Terry Friedman saying there was a cover-up, and he really did believe a UFO had landed in Roswell. He said there was something called the Majestic 12, a group of powerful men that knew all about the existence of aliens. He wrote, "The evidence is overwhelming that the Earth is being visited by intelligently controlled vehicles from off of the Earth." The FBI alluded that he was delusional. Maybe you believe that this man and other conspiracy theorists were delusional, but then you might take note that when in 2016 John Podesta wanted to release the Roswell files under the Freedom of Information Act, they were missing. The files had disappeared, but it was clear there'd been some investigation by the Air Force, said Podesta. Sound fishy? Then you have the area in Nevada where the USA develops new technologies, the place known as Area 51. We know black projects happen there, but we don't exactly know what. Again, it's in the interests of a country to keep such things secret, but as long as there is secrecy, there will be paranoia and conspiracies. The alien conspiracy certainly heightened when a man called Bob Lazar appeared on US television in 1989, saying he worked in this area reverse engineering several flying saucers. The question is, was he delusional too? With this in mind, we at least need to investigate further. In 2017, the New York Times reported that the Pentagon was spending $600 billion on defense, but there was a mysterious $22 million spent on the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. That is cash spent on looking for UFOs, and where that money went exactly remains a secret. The Pentagon has admitted that this program existed, but then also said it was closed down in 2012. The shadowy program, parts of it remain classified, began in 2007, and initially it was largely funded at the request of Harry Reid, the Nevada Democrat who was the Senate Majority Leader at the time and who has long had an interest in space phenomena, wrote the Times. The paper added that much of the money in this program came from a billionaire entrepreneur by the name of Robert Bigelow. He has gone on record saying he is absolutely convinced that aliens have been here on Earth. He says the program has indeed included documents that say sightings of UFOs have happened, and those objects moved at very high speeds and showed no signs of propulsion. The program also included information about the mysterious oval object that in 2004 was being chased by two Navy FA-18F fighter jets. Scientists, however, told the Times that one should not rush to the conclusion that every strange moving object is an alien spacecraft. Rather, sometimes natural phenomenon can look like a UFO. We're also told that flying objects might not always want to be seen, and sometimes they are not aliens but flown by humans. In the 1950s and 60s, the USA had something called Project Blue Book. That project told us thousands of objects were seen flying through the sky, but often those were other countries' spy planes, clouds, or just conventional aircraft. We're also told that 701 of these objects, in that project at least, were never properly explained. So we know that the US has a certain amount of black money and that the cash is spent on seeing or understanding alien technology. This is a fact and no one is denying it. Space.com talks about the secret project too, telling us that a man who ran the program for a while went on record saying there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone. This is not some conspiracy theorist. This is a man that worked at the higher echelons of U.S. intelligence. He told CNN that some of the aircraft being studied in the program were displaying characteristics that are not currently within the U.S. inventory, nor in any foreign inventory that we are aware of. Some reports say when he left his job in 2016, he did so because he was annoyed that the government wasn't taking aliens or the threat of aliens seriously enough. Then we have the Mutual UFO Network, and the people working there believe we are on the brink of something big regarding UFOs. This group of people are at the forefront of UFO research and have studied over 100,000 UFO reports over the last 50 years or so. Their conclusion is without a doubt UFOs have been seen, that the technology is fantastic, and that we can learn a lot from those technologies. Our military vaults are full of such videos and data on these objects. Now that the spill gates have been opened a little, it's time for the rest to come out in an orderly fashion, said the network. But there are still skeptics. One writer told Space.com that while we might come across alien spacecraft, the $22 million the USA spent was not much in the bigger scheme of things. He believes there are a few curious minds in the government, but that's it. Nothing is being hidden from us. All you have are a few UFO believers in and outside the government who were able to get away with funneling a few million Pentagon dollars to themselves for UFO research and have very little to show for it, he said. What we have perhaps as the best case for a UFO is that amazing footage of the US fighter jets following some kind of object. It seems that many experts say that this is some of the most compelling evidence. After that, we have the Times report, which was in some ways groundbreaking because it proved the US government was looking for aliens. The Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program was about the nearest thing we have to the X-Files, or at least is the nearest thing we've been told about. What do the Brits think about this? In 2017, The Guardian reported the same story as everyone else, that the US was looking for aliens and wasn't denying it. But the British government in 2010 also released its own UFO report. We're told that this consisted of around 6,000 pages of documentation, but nothing in there proved the existence of UFOs. British UFO expert Nick Pope read all these documents and said there's a great deal of mundane correspondence between the MOD and the public, together with the vast number of UFO sightings which are clearly aircraft lights, satellites, or meteors. But there is some more interesting material. Indeed, some of the events he mentioned have remained something of a mystery. He said that it's now time that everyone realized that both the UK and US governments are taking aliens seriously, maybe more seriously than ever. Like our US colleagues, we too denied, even to Parliament, that we were undertaking secret studies into the UFO phenomenon and consistently downplayed the true extent of our interest and activity at the Ministry of Defense, he said. That said, the British MOD closed down its UFO hotline in 2009, stating that no sighting over the years had led to anything substantial. The American Department of Defense said it closed its program to use the funding for other projects. It did say this, though, to the media in 2017. The DoD takes seriously all threats and potential threats to our people, our assets, and our mission, and takes action whenever credible information is developed. Unfortunately, boys and girls and alien enthusiasts, besides the USA admitting that there is black money and black sites, we don't have much to go on. We have some interesting videos, and we have very few supposed whistleblowers who might also be crackpots. We had a cover-up in Roswell, but it wasn't a cover-up of alien existence. It was just more secrecy from an already paranoid government. What we at the Infographics Show think is that the US government isn't necessarily hiding information pertaining to the existence of UFOs, but it does work under the veil of secrecy. That's it. That's all, folks. There's no big conspiracy to keep us unaware of the truth. But of course, we don't know that for sure. So we'd like to know what you think about this. Tell us in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video, What Happens in Area 51. Thanks for watching, and as always, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.